Hello everyone, welcome to ACE Online and welcome to daily current affairs session. So we'll be covering the current affairs of yesterday as well as today, the Sunday. In Sunday session, we don't have too much articles, so we have collected two, that is model code and the 18th Lok Sabha election. The facts, brief background as well about the Lok Sabha elections we will see, which is relevant for our exam. And rest of all are collected from today's newspaper and Press Information Bureau, PIB. Usually, the news on Saturdays and Sundays won't be much. Hardly there is one or two mention of PIB which are even not relevant for our exam, because government offices are closed on Sundays and most of the Saturdays as well, like 2nd and 4th. So that's why we don't have much articles on Saturday and Sunday from Press Information Bureau. Rather, we have collected it from Hindu and Indian Express and Times of India. Okay. So briefly, let's go into the articles that we are going to discuss today. First one, Model Code of Conduct. So you might already know this, that yesterday Election Commission has announced the dates, day before yesterday, Saturday. So they have announced the new, the dates of the Lok Sabha elections, 18th Lok Sabha elections. That's why we will see briefly about Model Code of Conduct and then history as well as the provisions under the Model Code of Conduct which are relevant for our exam. Next, 18th Lok Sabha elections, so the new elections of the coming April and May. So we'll briefly see the background as well as the important features or the facts related to the 18th Lok Sabha election. Then there is a very international article related to the environmental affairs, biodiversity, beyond national jurisdiction treaty. A new treaty is under consideration. Of course, some members has already signed it, but ratification has not been done. So we'll see the difference between ratification and signing also. This is very important article of environment, science and technology. Again, this is one more important, but from science and technology. Ice Cube Neutrino Observatory. There's an article in the Hindu today, the last page of science and technology. So we'll see what is neutrinos and then what is this laboratory about. Fine. Next, Sangeeta Kalanidhi Award was given to T.K. Krishna. So we'll see about the award and who are all the other award winners. So this also important, especially in the exams that you are writing, second, or you can say grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, right? So these awards or names has to be remembered. Next, Tenmala Kullan. So it is a town in Kollam district. So there is a cow which Kerala is willing to develop, right? And then some 4 or 5 factual pointers are there. Finally, we will see the practice questions as well, right? So I hope you all are ready for the session, and in case you have any doubts, you can ask here, okay? Right. Yeah. So welcome to the session. Let's start with the first article. The context is very direct, that Election Commission has announced the new elections and then immediately Model Code of Conduct has come into the picture, okay? Now, what is this Model Code of Conduct, right? So, see, whenever there is a multiple parties, some parties will be in the ruling, that is the government, right? And then some other parties which are not in the government, they are in the opposition, right? So whenever there is already a government and the elections are coming, this government can misuse, isn't it? They have the police force, they have all other government machinery, and they have the funds, they have the popularity, everything is affiliated or supported towards the government which is already in power, right? So to contain that, to maintain a level playing field among all the parties, the Model Code of Conduct is prepared and given by the Election Commission of India, and everyone, including the party in ruling or the opposition parties, everyone has to follow the what you call Model Code given by the Election Commission. So it is not mandatory, but yes, people will question if they are not following the Model Code of Conduct, and they may lose in the elections as well because of autocracy and all, right? So that's why this Model Code of Conduct main objective is to check the excess power in the hands of the government and to maintain the level playing field between all the political parties which are going to participate in the elections, right? So that is a very basic and a very important role that Model Code of Conduct will come into the picture, right? That is the objective. So these are the guidelines issued by Election Commission of India, as we have discussed this, to the all the political parties as well as the candidates, because some candidates will participate independently without support of any political parties. So this is applicable not only to the parties but individual candidates as well, right? So that is about the basic thing. And when this will come into the picture, this was many times asked in the exam, the date on which Election Commission has announced the elections. From that point of time, the election code or model code of conduct will come into the picture. Until when it will stay? Till the conduct or counting of the final result. The final result, okay? The counting of final result to all the elections once completed, then model code of conduct automatically goes off, right? So starting from the announcement till the election counting by the Election Commission of India, this code stays. And this code has 8 provisions. The number is important, they may change and ask. So this code consists of 8 provisions, the broad provisions of course. There are number of rules and regulations. You no need to read all those things. Okay, that is not relevant for our exam and nobody can remember. First one is general conduct about all the candidates as well as parties, and then meetings. So where to happen, how to happen. So all the rules and regulations are there related to the meetings of different parties, and then processions. So wherever they contain something or they propose something, those are also under the consideration of model code. And then polling day, the polling day provisions are also clearly discussed here. Similarly, polling booths, how to maintain, who can enter in. So everything is clearly mentioned there. And then observers, there are observers in every election booth appointed by certain party, so they will just oversee it. It was allowed, and how to maintain themselves is also mentioned in the model code of conduct. And party in power, and then election manifestos. So related to the party which is already in power, there will be special provisions to how they have to handle. So new schemes should not be announced. So such type of things are clearly mentioned here. And then election manifestos of different political parties, right? So these are all 8 provisions, the broad provisions covered under the model code of conduct. Now, there are certain also other objectives. First thing is, as we said, that government in power should not have more authority, right? No policy or anything can be announced. Once the model code of conduct has been announced, no new political policies, initiatives can be announced which may become popularity among public, and then they vote tilted towards the government in power, right? So that's why the new initiative schemes which may influence the voters will not be allowed to announce under the model code of conduct. This is one important provision. Similarly, the model code of conduct also prevents any political event, political meetings to be held just before 48 hours before the final elections. For example, there is an election on 20th March. So until 18th, after 18th March till March 20, there won't be any political meetings and it should be closed. There should not be any election activity in those 2 days, right? So which is called as a election silence. So there will be a calm and nothing will be mentioned, right? Now, what is the history of model code of conduct? That is also relevant for our exam. When this has come and who is the first state to handle it? All these things are also relevant for our exam. That also we'll see in brief. Okay. For the first time, this election code came into picture in 1960 in the state of Kerala. It was not prepared by Election Commission, rather it was prepared by the state administration. The election under the Election Commission only, but the state administration in the state of Kerala, they have prepared brief code and they have implemented in the state of Kerala for the first time. Okay, so this is one important point. And later, at the national level, in 1962, for the first time at the national level, Election Commission has prepared a code, election code, and it was implemented in 1962 elections of Lok Sabha. Fine. But anyway, this is not actually model code of conduct. It was actually a election code with not very clearly mentioned. It was just a generic ones. After that, the model code of conduct was renewed. Everything was, after 1962, it was renewed and clearly made as a proper document. And this was properly implemented since 1991. So this is one of the historic movements in the elections in India. Under the then Chief Election Commissioner T.N. Seshan from Tamil Nadu. So election commission has certain powers under Article 324, right? So 324 is the power derived where election commission can conduct the elections free and fair manner. So he has used this power and he has cancelled many elections that time. Wherever he felt that this political parties in power are not maintaining proper neutrality, he literally cancelled the election, postponed the elections. So it was very historic moment that all the parties came into strict implementation, right? These parties cannot also do anything because people will be watching them. So if something mischievous has happened, then their power will be lost, because of course people need democracy, right? So since 1991, under the leadership of T.N. Seshan, we have implemented the model code of conduct in a very stringent manner. Until today, it is really one of the the best ever steps in the elections we can consider. Even though I'll tell you the next elements of the model code of conduct, they are not actually backed by any act. There is no such act, no such law, no such rules. It is just a voluntary in nature. Still, model code of conduct is strictly implemented because of the measures taken by T.N. Seshan those times. Okay? Yes, as I said, the legality. So there is no constitution mentioned about the model code of conduct. There is no act, there is no rule. Nothing were mentioned. It was just a document, a voluntary document prepared by the Election Commission of India, and it was being implemented since 1991 very stringently. It is just a voluntary, nothing nowhere mentioned. Okay? But you may ask, sir, why then political parties, will they follow? Yes, of course they will follow. Mostly, in certain cases are exemption. Mostly they will follow because people are there to watch their activities. That's why it's like, even though it is a voluntary, it is acting as a binding force from the people's views, right? So this is the legal nature of model code of conduct. So it is nothing but, it is not statutory, it is not constitutional provision, rather it is just a voluntary document given by Election Commission of India, right? So that is about the model code of conduct. Do you have any doubts? You can ask here. If not, then we will move to the next article. Okay? Yeah. Right. So as there is no doubt, we are moving to the next article, and very important, we will see some important provisions of the 18th Lok Sabha, as well as we will see some historical data as well. Okay? So that becomes important. Now, you all know, as we have discussed just before, the model code of conduct, the elections were announced in India, and the first phase of elections will happen on April 19th, and then last phase, the 7th phase, will happen on June 1st to the total 543 seats of Lok Sabha, as well as 4 state assemblies. Right? Rest of the assemblies already happened, the elections, or maybe yet to come in the next coming years. That's why the simultaneous elections to all the assemblies and Lok Sabha is also being proposed. We have discussed that, right? So as of now, only 4 states has the synchronity with the Lok Sabha elections. Andhra Pradesh, the states are also important to be remembered. You have to remember. Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, Sikkim and Arunachal Pradesh. So 2 are northeastern states and 2 are bordering states, Andhra and Odisha in the eastern part, right? So these are the states that, yeah, very good evening Malini, welcome to the session. So these are the states which we are going to have a simultaneously elections with the Lok Sabha. This is very, very important to be remembered. They will ask you in the exam, right? Now briefly, this is not that important. Anyway, we have collected this from the Hindu, right? So a very good picturesque where they have mentioned there are total 7 phases of the election. So first phase, second phase, you can see the concerned color as well, right? So this represents the first phase, and then this represents the blue color represents the second phase. No need to worry, just to make you that there are 7 phases of elections in the coming next 2 months starting from April 19th, and the last election will be on January 1st. The counting will be on January 4th, and when the elections are happening in different states, that is not relevant. Just to make you understand, though this is not relevant for our exam, this data is relevant, but this is not the relevant one. Just remember that 7 phases across India, they are going to conduct the elections. Okay? And why we are conducting in phases? Can anyone tell in the comment section why we are not able to conduct in a single session across India? Okay, some interruption in the screen. Fine, we'll tell to the technical team, okay? I'll just mention it. Fine, okay. So this data is not that relevant, don't worry. Just can someone tell me why we are not able to conduct the elections in a single go throughout this India? Okay, this is because we don't have that machinery, we don't have EVMs, we need lot of EVMs at a single go, as well as we need lot of security forces to be held at single place. Just a second, some screen problem. Okay, so this is about the introductory of the session. Now, this article, just briefly about the election. Now there are important data about this year election. This may be asked in the exam, especially if you are writing any state PSCs or even UPSC engineering services. So this data is very, very important. Let's briefly see about the data that need for our exam. First, the total electorate. Total we have around 140 crore, right, population. Out of that, the total votes which are registered in the 2024 elections are 96.8 crore people are the total voters that we have, right? So this is one important fact. And then out of that, there are 1.84 crore mostly of the first time voters. See, between the age of 18 to 19, we have 1.84 crore, which is a very good number, 2% of the total votes. So these are considered as the first time voters, right? 1.84 crore total voters between 18 to 19 years age. And then we have a transgender voters of 48,044. These are the total number of transgender voters in the present coming elections. Similarly, we have a service electorals. So that means the persons who are working in military, defense, on those things, they are all considered as the service voters who are working for the government. So they are 19.08 lakh voters of the service voter who are working for the government, right? And then we have a overseas voters. That means they are citizens of India and are eligible to vote, who are registered but not residing in India. They are residing outside of India, and we have total 1.18 lakh electoral voters of the overseas. Similarly, voters above 85 age, right? So those are also very important, which have experience and they know how to judge, judge the political parties and vote. So their vote are very, very important as they have experience, they have seen these things. So 81.8 lakhs above 85 age, and then voters with a disability. So physically challenged persons, we have 88.3 lakhs, approximately the same one. And voters above 100 years age. Very surprising that in India, we have voters who are more than 100 years, approximately 2.18 lakhs. Okay? And the total polling stations that we have are 10,48,202. All these numbers are important, but very important is this, right? And then this one, and then this one, and this one. So these are very important. Rest of the things are okay, fine. They may ask or may not ask. So we cannot remember all the data. But anyway, as the ticked one, you need to know it, right? Yeah, thank you. A PDF will be attached, Sandhya. We are attaching every day. Today's PDF will also be attached in the next 1 hour. I have already forwarded to the team. No need to worry. Every day we are attaching the PDF to the video. You can check it out. Okay. Today's PDF will be attached soon in the next coming 1 hour. So all these data are very important, right? Similarly, let's go a little bit background. Historical data is also important. So in the exam, they may ask when was first election Lok Sabha has happened and how many times it has happened. So all these data are very, very important. So these dates you no need to worry, the months, the years are important. For the first time in India, the Lok Sabha elections has happened in 1952. After our Republic of India on 1950 January 26, the first election has happened in 1952, and the second elections has happened in 1957, and Jawaharlal Nehru has completed his 10-year tenure, right? So in the third, it has happened in 1962 during Indo-Chinese War, and Jawaharlal Nehru, Lal Bahadur Shastri and Indira Gandhi, three people were acted as a prime minister in those third term. See, this type of statements will also be asked in the exam. In which of the session or in which of the Lok Sabha session there were three prime ministers? Something like that they may ask, or statement based also they may frame this. I'll show you how the questions will come in the end as well. Okay, and then fourth has happened in 1967 and fifth has happened in 1971, and both the times Mrs. Indira Gandhi has ruled in those 2 years. Next, 1977, no need to worry about remembering all the things. Just know first 3, 4, and you have any speciality is there from this side. If there are 2, 3 prime ministers, or if there is any speciality that has happened, that you need to remember. Okay, total we have 17 till now, and 18th session is going to come in the next few months, right? 18th Lok Sabha session. So these first 5, 6 are very, very important. Try to remember who has acted as the prime ministers and all. And this 1962 or the third session, we have 3 prime ministers. Next, Morarji Desai and Charan Singh acted briefly during the emergency times, and then Mrs. Indira Gandhi came in 1980. Again, not important, don't worry. Just that she got killed by some terrorists, and then Rajiv Gandhi took over, right? So this 1989 VP Singh and then Chandrasekhar. 1991, you can remember if you are a person from Andhra Pradesh or Telangana, they may ask this in the exam. So during the 10th Lok Sabha, they have, PV Narasimha Rao has acted as a prime minister. So this may be important for the people who are preparing from Andhra and Telangana, right? And then during the 11th session, we have again 3 prime ministers. So this 11th and then, third. This third and 11th, we have 3 prime ministers who acted in those 5-year tenure. Atal Bihari Vajpayee, Deve Gowda and then Gujral, right? So after that, again we have Atal Bihari Vajpayee and then Manmohan Singh, and presently Narendra Modi ji, right? So these are all the important data which we have discussed. They may ask in any form, you need to remember, right? Now, which states have the highest Lok Sabha seats? That will also be asked in the exam. It is always based on the population, right? Which state is having highest population will have highest Lok Sabha. But anyway, sometimes we don't remember which states has the highest population. First, you all know that UP have 80 with the 20 crore population, followed by Maharashtra, West Bengal and Bihar. So these 4 you need to remember. First UP, and then second one is Maharashtra, third one is West Bengal, and fourth one is Bihar, right? So UP, Maharashtra, West Bengal, Bihar are the top 4, and fifth one is Tamil Nadu. So these are the 4 states which are having the highest top 4 or top 5, including Tamil Nadu, seats among the Lok Sabha. This is again very, very important, right? So notable observations from this 18th Lok Sabha. We have certain notable features in this year 18th Lok Sabha. Those facts are also we'll see. This is the second longest polling exercise in terms of time span, starting from April 19 to June 4, counting April 19 to June 4. This is the second longest ever election span. After the first one, which has happened in 1951, it was spanned between 5 months. This is just 3 months, but that was 5 months because that was our first elections. Starting from September 1951 till February 1952, we had an elections for 5 months. Okay, so this is the second longest. Similarly, gender ratio per 1000 men, we have a 948. This number is also important. For 1000 men, 948 women voters are there in India. Okay, so the gender gap is slowly reducing. Earlier it was 800, 850 something, but now it is equaling almost to the men. In the next, maybe in next 1 decade, it will be equal up. And in 12 states, we have women voters more than men voters, right? What are those states? That is not relevant for our exam. Nobody can remember 12 states. Anyway, total 12 states are there where women voters are more than men voters. And this is the first time, the 18th Lok Sabha is the first ever where they are allowing the persons who are above age of 80 and then more than 40 with more than 40% disability. I mean, disability is measured based on the type of disability. So any person who is disabled more than 40% of that body, I mean the personal body, as well as the voters above 85 years, now they can vote from their own homes. This is the first time that we are having this, right? So they can vote from their own house. This is one important notable feature, right? So that is about the 18th Lok Sabha. Comprehensively we have discussed about the nature and then the numbers, and also we have the background and the seats of different states and the some observations of the 18th Lok Sabha session. Any doubts in this? Okay. Now moving to the next article, Biodiversity Beyond National Jurisdiction Treaty, BBNJ. Biodiversity beyond national jurisdiction. So it is indirectly saying that beyond our national boundaries. That is some clue. Okay. And why we have taken this article? Blue leaders, there is a group called Blue Leaders. We will discuss about it, don't worry. Blue Leaders, a group of countries, has met recently in Belgium. And they have they are trying to sign this Biodiversity Beyond National Jurisdiction Treaty. They are discussing it to implement it, right? So here we have two things. One is Blue Leaders, and the Blue Leaders are trying to implement this treaty, right? They are pushing to implement this treaty across the world. So let's see these two. First we will go with the Blue Leaders and then we will come to this particular treaty, right? So who are the Blue Leaders? So Blue Leaders are nothing but a group of countries who want to save the global oceans. Oceans are in very, very dangerous condition. If you go to any beaches, you can see a lot of plastic waste. Even inside it, in the offshore, if you go interior, there is a lot of pollution, right? So they want to save the oceans from emerging climate crisis because of overfishing, pollution, plastic waste. So a lot of things are there. These Blue Leaders are a group of countries who are aiming to protect the oceans. And what are all the countries? No need to remember. Just remember that India is not a part of this group. India is not a part of this group yet. So any of our neighbor is there, then we can remember. But anyway, these are all Western countries. We don't have any of our neighbors, right? So we don't have any of our neighbors. So no need to worry about remembering. Total we have around, so total around 24 countries are there, okay? So that can be remembered, right? So these are the Blue Leaders. Now, I hope you are following. In case of any doubts, you can ask here. So it is just a group that want to protect the oceans. Now, before going into the treaty, I want to discuss one very, very important. I'll show you the question also. So keenly listen here. There is a question which I will give you in the end. UPSC Civil Services Prelims of 2021. There was a question on this. So I'll show you the question also. So keenly observe here. Okay. To answer that question, you need to understand this. This is our land boundary. That means, for example, you can take this as India, the Indian coast. So this is our land, and after that we have a ocean, right? So this is Bay of Bengal. Now this land ends here, and this is Bay of Bengal, for example, assume. So any country will have their land boundary, and then there is a ocean, right? Whichever is having the coastal boundary. Now, starting from the coast of the country, the land and ocean where they meet, that is called as coast. Starting from the coast of the country till 12 nautical miles. 12 nautical miles. 1 nautical mile equal to 1.85 kilometers, right? So this may be asked in the exam as well. Anyway, this is, oceans are measured on nautical miles, right? So the total from starting from the coast, the land and the ocean meets till 12 nautical miles, that is called as the territorial sea. Territorial means the country, right? So it is called as a territorial sea. Then next one, from land till 24 nautical miles. 12 plus 12, so contiguous zone. This is also 12 nautical miles, right? 12 is territorial, and from 0 till 24 here, this is called as contiguous zone. Contiguous zone, starting from 12 to 24. And then I'll tell you what is the significance of this division, what are all activities from allowed. We will discuss. Just understand the geographical division, then you can understand the rest of the things, right? So 12 to 24 we have a contiguous zone. Next one, until 200 nautical miles, starting from here. See, everything is measured from here itself, right? So 12 and then 24 and then till 200 nautical miles. It is considered as the, till 200 nautical miles, it is considered as the exclusive economic zone, EEZ. This was asked in many times. So it is till 200 nautical miles. Contiguous zone till 24, territorial till 12. And then beyond EEZ, exclusive economic zone, that is called as the high seas, higher seas, I mean the far away seas, right? So this division you need to remember from starting from here, what comes first and what comes last, this order you need to remember, and the distance also you need to remember for the exam. 12, 24, 200, and beyond that we have a high seas, right? And what is territorial sea? What is this contiguous zone? What is this exclusive economic zone? And what is high seas? Okay, first territorial sea, this is the zone till coast to 12 nautical miles where it is completely under the control of this country, whatever the surrounding or whatever the country that is bordering. Even the airspace, the above airspace, the where airplanes fly, that is also under the country control, whatever the bordering, because sometimes the other country may come and put the missiles. So to monitor that, this airspace was given. Any aircraft that want to travel from this zone has to take permission from this country, right? So it is not just for ocean but also for the airways as well. So that is called as the territorial sea, which is completely under the control of the country. But anyway, if any peaceful passage of this sea, other ships will be allowed. Okay, generally it is allowed. Next comes the contiguous zone, right, after 12 nautical miles. This contiguous zone is not for airspace, only at the water level, that is under the control of the country. Here we have airspace plus water, but here only the water. There is no airspace under its control. Now here they have right to prevent and punish infringement of migration, any people who are entering into their region, or any sanitary cleanliness, customs laws, right? So whoever are transporting goods illegally. So all these things comes under the control of the country. So this country which is bordering can control this in terms of customs duties or whatever infringement, privacy, all measures they can take. Anyway, here they won't allow the airspace, right? So in this contiguous zone, that is important. Next comes the exclusive economic zone. Next comes the exclusive economic zone, this zone until 200 nautical miles, right? So this exclusive economic zone, they can explore the methyl hydrate. So we have a number of mining things, a lot of minerals, petroleum reserves in this exclusive economic zones. So all these things they can take care, right? Except that they don't have rights in terms of passage of seas, they cannot deny, they have to allow, and then airspace is also under the control of, not under the control of the country, right? So it allows exploring whatever the minerals, all these things, it is allowed, okay? And the last one comes the high seas, and nobody can claim the control over it. Only anyone can use, but only peaceful manner, okay? This is the classification of UN clause, United Nations Convention on Laws of Seas. This was under United Nations itself, right? So this was agreed. This division is very, very important for our exams. They may ask you any type of questions. Any doubts in this? If you have any confusion in this, let me know. I'll just explain you. Okay? So you may confuse that there is a superimpose of these things. 0 to 200, this is completely called as exclusive economic zones. So it is not just up to here, 200 until 200 nautical miles, starting from this coast till 200 nautical miles, it is considered as exclusive economic zones. Until 24 nautical miles, it is considered as a contiguous zone. Until 12 nautical miles, it is considered as a territorial sea. And beyond 200 nautical miles, it is the high seas, where anyone can use it, but peacefully, not for military and all, right? So that is the classification. Now why we have discussed this classification? Because these blue leaders who are willing to protect the oceans are aiming to launch a treaty to protect these high seas. Until this, they don't have the jurisdiction, because the countries have, the country whatever it is border, they can take control of this region. But beyond that, nobody is taking care. That's why this blue leaders are aiming to launch the treaty. That is called as a what you call biodiversity beyond international jurisdiction treaty. So high seas are beyond the jurisdiction of the countries. That's why this treaty is named as biodiversity beyond national jurisdiction treaty, right? Now, before going into that, the blue leaders themselves has two important goals. These countries which are called as blue leaders has two important goals. One is to protect at least 30% of global ocean. See, this high seas region consists of two-third of total ocean water. So we have ocean water of 71% of the earth, and out of that 71%, two-thirds are in high seas. Nobody is bothering. Just one-third are in the exclusive contiguous territorial region. So there are two-thirds of the oceans which are not being handled by anyone. That's why this they are aiming to protect, to conserve at least 30% of those high seas. That is one important goal of blue leaders. They want to achieve it by 2030. Next important goal is rapid and successful conclusion of a new high seas treaty. One is to protect those 30%, and then second one is to implement the high seas treaty, that is biodiversity beyond national jurisdiction treaty, right? And what is this treaty about? Same thing, they want to protect the high seas, that is objective, to reduce the pollution, promote the maritime biodiversity, all generic things related to the oceans were included. And this treaty was signed in 2023 March. India is not part, of course, but you need to remember, right? Beyond 200 nautical miles, this treaty will take care. Okay, so as of now, I said two-thirds of the waters are in high seas, but only 1.44% are protected. Rest of the things are just open. There is no control over it. No treaty, no organization is taking care. So this treaty wants to implement it. Almost 88 countries have signed it. They have signed it that we are ready to join, but not ratified. Ratified means we will completely implement it once the treaty has come into the picture. So it is just signed by 88 countries, and only Chile and Palau has ratified it. Rest of the countries haven't ratified, and at least 6 countries has to give ratification, implementation, to implement this treaty across the globe, right? So these are all about the facts, objectives. We have discussed very comprehensively. If any question it comes, so you need to answer it, right? Any doubts in this? Okay, I hope there are no doubts. Let's move to the next article, and very important, of course, related to science and technology. And there was already a question. Ice Cube Neutrino Observatory. Now, what is the context? There was an article on the Hindu about this. I have just taken the statement itself directly. Most of the energy collapsing supernova. What is supernova? That may be confused. Supernova means explosion of any space object, especially the stars. There is an explosion of the star and the gas comes out together, right? So especially the helium and hydrogen gas, which is more prominent among the stars. So supernova is an event in the space where there is an explosion of space objects, especially the stars. That is supernova. So whenever that is happening, the burst is happening, there is a radiation coming out of it, and those radiation mostly consist of neutrinos. What are neutrinos? That we will discuss. The context is the Hindu mentioned about the radiation released from supernova event consists of the neutrinos. That was proved by the scientists, right? So that is why we have taken this article. Now, what are neutrinos? they are also called as ghost particles. Okay, so neutrinos, it was proved that they are here, they are here, they are here, everywhere. It is surrounding us, but we cannot able to detect them. No, what you call equipment or no observatories are there to identify them. It is like it was proved that they are everywhere. It is surrounding you, it is surrounding me, but nobody were able to detect them, unlike proton, neutrons, and other electrons, right? So these are ghost particles. That's why, these are particles which are difficult to identify. That's why they are called as the ghost particles. Okay, and how they are formed? That is again important. So neutrinos are produced in nuclear reactions in the sun, star, and others. Like in the space, whenever there is a nuclear reactions, so these neutrinos comes in towards the earth and throughout all the universe, right? So that's how they are formed, and they are extremely low mass. So they have extremely minus not something else, very minute mass, and are very weakly interacted. If you give protons or electrons, they are immediately reacted if there is an opposite charge. But this neutrinos does not react. They are not able to react, and they are very low mass. That's why we are not able to detect them, right? So those are the neutrinos, and as I said, they were created from nuclear reactions, radioactive decay. Radioactive decay means which are unstable molecules getting reacted, releasing some gases, right? So this way the neutrinos are pumped into the what you call space. Now there are some characters, of course we have already discussed in the last slide itself. They are electrically neutral. There is no charge. Proton, neutron, or neutron, of course, charge, we have neutral, but electron, proton, we have charge. But these particles does not have any charge. They are neutral, right? And mass is extremely low when we compare to the other particles. And they are, we have a flavors different classification: electron, neutrino, some charge, muon neutrino, tau neutrino. You don't need to worry about too much technical. They are weakly interacted, and speed is approximately close to the speed of light, right? 3.10 power 8 meters per second. So it is approximately speed of light, the same speed we have for neutrinos. They may ask you in the exams the characters and all. Now, what is this ice cube neutrino observatory? So this observatory was created in the Antarctic Ocean, the Antarctic region, not ocean, sorry, Antarctic continent, to identify these neutrinos. We have approximately 5,000 light sensors created in this Antarctic region using various equipment. We have 5,000 light sensor which they are going to capture neutrinos by covering 1 cubic kilometer Antarctic ice. So it is volume, 1 cubic means 1 meter cube, right? So it is 1 cubic kilometer they are saying, so kilometer cube, kilometer and multiplied by kilometer. So the total volume that they are going to cover in the Antarctic region is 1 cubic kilometer, 1 kilometer cube, and they are going to use 5,000 light sensors to identify. And why they want to identify? Are they mad? You may question that, right? So why they want to spend too much amount of money and using this? Why they want to identify? Let them leave. Let the neutrinos keep like that. What is the harm? There is a harm. If something happens in the future, if you were able to study this, we will know how the stars are bursting, how the universe is acting, so we can protect our earth from any future collapse, right? And then any future dangers. Also, we can identify the emergence of the universe. What is the age of earth? All these things can be measured when we know such type of details from the particles, right? So this is what the neutrino observatory was launched, and there is no organization. There is like United Nations or any other body. There is no body which has established. It is established by a group of scientists from across the world, right? So from across the world they came together and they have established it. And funding comes from various agencies like European agency and all, right? So that is the objective. And this sets for neutrinos, as I said. And we will also know this information will also give the virulent that comes from the space, any burst, all these things also we can identify, right? So that is the objective of the Ice Cube neutrino mission. Any doubts in this? Any confusion? Okay. No doubt from your side, if in case any doubt, you can just, and one more important fact I want to tell, this is the second most abundant particles after photons. Photons are released by light, right? So any light consists of photons, and these are the second, beyond electrons, proton, neutrons, these neutrinos are the second most abundant after photons. So that is also important fact to be remembered, right? Now, very direct factual one, no need to stress too much from my side, you just need to remember the names and all. So, Sangeet Kalanidhi Award, we will discuss about it. So, the context is very simple. T.M. Krishna, a notable Carnatic music and then a poet, he got the Sangeeta Kalanidhi Award for 2024. It was given by Madras Music Academy. Madras Music Academy, right? So, just two facts. Who got this, and then Music Academy Award. Now, what is this Sangeet Kalanidhi Awards? That is also important. For what they are given? They are the highest award given for Carnatic music. It is not for all the arts. We have two types of classical music, Hindustani, which is followed in the northern part of India. Second one is Carnatic music, which is followed in the southern side, Pallavi, Charanam. So we have a typical certain characters among these two things. I am not going to discuss about this, it takes a lot of time, right? In the Indian culture we study this, right? So we have two types of music, Hindustani and Carnatic. Carnatic is followed in the southern part, right? So this award is given for those who has contributed for Carnatic music only. It is not for all the music, only for Carnatic music. And it is given by Madras Music Academy. This academy is not run by the government, rather it is a private, non-governmental organization. It was established way back in 1927 when Madras session has happened, Indian National Congress, if you are a history person. So All India National Congress session every year happens in the December, right? It has happened in 1927 in Madras. So there one resolution was passed to protect the Indian music, and Carnatic is the indigenous, the most ancient one. So to protect that, they established a Madras Music Academy, and after independence it became very bigger one, right? So this academy gives the award of the Sangeet Kalanidhi Award. So for the winners, it will be given golden medal and then a citation. It called as a patra, you can see. So this this is a gold medal. So a citation, a placate like thing is also given for the winners. Now, who is T.M. Krishna? That is also maybe asked in the exam. So he is a Carnatic music vocalist. That's why he got this award, right? So Carnatic music vocalist, and is also a speaker, writer on social and cultural elements of the society, right? So he wrote three important books that may be asked in the exam. Voices Within Carnatic Music Passing on Inheritance. That is his first book. And then A Southern Music, The Carnatic Story. That is the second one. And recently, Reshaping Art. So these are the three books of his works, right? In 2016, he got Raman Magsaysay Award, given by Philippines, the highest award in terms of contributing for any peace or arts. Then he got Tata Literature Award, Indira Gandhi Award for National Integration, and then we have also Aravind Akshan Memorial Award. So these awards are generic. Anyway, he got all these four awards. You can just remember. Just glance through it. Maybe in worst case, if they ask, you can remember, right? So other awards were also given. Not only about Sangeet Kalanidhi Award, they have announced, the Madras Music Academy has also announced other awards. So that also something important. Yesterday there was a state PSC exam in Andhra Pradesh. There was question on Sangeet Academy Awards. Lot of names were given in the matching. So you have to remember it. Many people may feel, if it is UPSC civil services, they may not ask these names. In engineering service of civil service, they are asking the names. But civil services, they are not asking. If you are writing any state PSC and other exams, you have to remember the names. Okay? So this Sangeet Kala Acharya Awards were given for Prasala Ravi and Geeta Raja, right? So these two got the Sangeet Kala Acharya Awards, and then Nritya Kalanidhi Award was given to Neena Prasad. One person got Nitya Kalanidhi Award, and then TTK Awards, right? So this name you have seen here, T.T. Krishnamachari. So he was Union Minister and one of the members of this thing. So TTK Awards was given for two brothers S. Narasimhan and S. Venkatesan. And musicologist award was given to Margaret Bustin. So these names you have to blindly mug up. You have no option, right? So these are all the facts that you need to remember. Last article for today, Tenmala Kullan. So a Kerala name, Kerala Animal Husbandry Department plan to register Tenmala Kullan as an indigenous breed. That means origin from India or origin from Kerala, we can say specifically. Okay. So this type of breed names are asked in the exam. What is Tenmala Kullan? Something like that. There's a lot of scientific names and they will ask you the local names also in the exam. So they are going to take care measures to declare it as an indigenous breed of Kerala, right? So already Kerala have two important indigenous breeds of the cattle, Vechur and Kasargod dwarf. Dwarf means shorter one, right? So dwarf means shorter one. So this is also Tenmala Kullan, also a dwarf, the shorter cow or cattle. Okay. Now certain features. This is a cow, a dwarf cow, short cow, with the name, local name Tenmala Kullan, and they have many distinctive features like small hump. Hump means here if you see for the cattle you will see a hump, a bump like thing. So those are called as hump, and these have very small hump. And these are reared by local tribes of Kerala, Arippa and Tenmala. These are the two tribes associated with this cattle, right? Important to remember. And they mostly strive by eating the local palm oil the fodder from palm oil in the local estates. So these are the features of Tenmala Kullan. So those are the articles which need more discussion. Now let's move to the factual pointers for today. M.S. Sheetal Devi, right? A distinguished para archery, right? A para archer was declared as a national icon in PWD category by Election Commission. So as we have just in the first article or second article we have seen that approximately we have more than 20 lakhs of physically challenged, 80 lakhs of physically challenged people. So to promote the voting awareness among those things, Election Commission has announced Miss Sheetal Devi as the national icon. Next, excise limiti. Limiti means friendship, meaning. Okay, friendship. This exercise is going to happen between Indian Army and then Seychelles. Indian Army and Seychelles Army. Seychelles we have seen when we were discussing about the Indian Ocean islands. Seychelles, Mauritius, Maldives, we have seen, right? So Seychelles is an island country in the Indian Ocean. So Indian Army and then Seychelles we are having a 10th edition of exercise limit, right? So this main aim is to coordinate each other in the semi-urban regions. It is not like cities, but if there is any urgency, they want to coordinate in the semi-urban regions, Naxal attack or piracy, whatever the conditions. So this is the objective. Next one, National Vaccination Day was celebrated on March 16th, day before yesterday, right? So March 16 every year celebrated as a National Vaccination Day to promote the importance of awareness related to the vaccination. And this year theme, vaccines work for all. So there is a lot of superstitious beliefs from people. I have seen in social media also, without even knowing how vaccination works, they are saying that heart attacks in recent times among the young people are due to vaccination during the COVID and all. So it is completely a misunderstood information. Don't believe in that thing. These are completely tested by the scientists and approved in the different phases, right? So that's why we were able to handle the COVID. If vaccines are option, then it would have been resulted in higher fatality, right? So vaccines work for all is the theme of this year, National Vaccine Day. Next, last one, Indian Navy has finally got its headquarters building. Till now we don't have a headquarters building for Indian Navy. They were operating from different regions. So that Bhavan was named as Nausena Bhavan, which was constructed in Delhi, cantonment region, right? So this is the fact about today. Any doubts in this? Okay, let's move to the objective questions for today. First question, which of the following statements with reference to model code of conduct is or incorrect, they are asking. Okay, so incorrect they are asking about the model code. The code of conduct does not have any statutory basis. So that is the first statement. Model code of conduct comes into the force immediately on the announcement of the election schedule by the commission. So that is the second statement. Third, the objective of model code of conduct is to ensure that party in power is not able to use public money to improve its electoral purposes. So these are the three statements, and they are asking about the not correct statements or incorrect statements. So I am waiting for your answers. I will give yes, you take 30 seconds and please answer it. Yeah. So we'll see, the code of conduct does not have any statutory basis. Yes, there is no statutory backing, no law, nothing, right? So first statement is correct. Model code of conduct comes into the immediately announcement of the election schedule. Yes, that is also correct. Second is also correct. So 1 should not be there and 2 should not be there. Now you have 2 options, 3 only and none of the above. The objective of MCC is to ensure that party in power not able to use the public money, that is government money, or the public, I mean we whatever tax paying, should use the electoral practices. Yes, this is also correct. So one of the provisions is that to contain the government or the party in power. So to contain, this is also one important provision. So all of the are correct and they are asking about the incorrect, and hence answer is D. Yeah, first one, this is the first question. So it is not second question, it is the first question. Answer is D. Correct, Malini. Your answer is correct. Next one, which one of the following statements about 18th Lok Sabha elections is correct? We have seen about the 18th Lok Sabha elections information. Now let's see the question related to that. Total 5 states will go for, they are asking about the correct. Total 5 states will go for assembly elections along with the Lok Sabha elections. So this is the first statement. Voters age of 18 to 19 years are more in number than voters whose age is 85 plus. So this is the second statement, they are asking about the correct. There are more women than men voters in 21 states. So that is the, yes Trida, you are correct. For first question it is none of the above, all are correct. This parliamentary election will be the longest polling exercise spanning over 5 months and in 9 phases. So these are the statements given and they are asking about the correct statement. So now tell me the answer. Okay, let's check. Total 5 states will go for assembly. No, it is 4 states. Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh and Odisha. So first statement is wrong. They are asking about correct. Then we have seen this discussion also. The total 12 states has the women voters more than men. It is not 12. So C is also wrong. C is wrong and A is wrong. Now they are asking about correct. Voters age of 18 to 19, we have seen 1.8 crore approximately, right? And 85 plus we have only 84 lakhs. So it is correct statement. We have more voters between 8 to 19 years when compared to the 85 plus. So this is correct. And this is not the longest and not 5 months. It is just 3 months and over 7 phases. This is wrong. So answer is B. Yes, you are correct. Ramanjaneyulu and Malini, both of you are correct. Sandhya, it's B. Okay. So it is not 21 states, rather it is a 12. So that is the answer. Next one. So this is asked in UPSC Civil Services in 2021. Okay. We have discussed this, right? Yes, Trida, you are correct. It is B for previous question. With reference to United Nations Conventions on Law of Seas, consider the following statements. Right? We have discussed this very detailedly. A coastal state has the right to establish the breadth of its territorial sea up to limit not exceeding 12 nautical miles measured from the baseline determined in accordance with the convention. So it is very big statement, but anyway they are saying that any country can establish the territorial breadth, the territorial one, up to 12 nautical miles. So that is the statement. Okay. Next, ships of all states, whether coastal or landlocked, enjoy. I mean, the certain countries are landlocked. They don't have, ocean coast, like Mongolia you can take, right? Laos you can take. So, ships of all states, whether coastal or landlocked, enjoy the right to innocent passage through the territorial sea. So, from territorial sea, they have right to passage through the peaceful innocent passage. That means without any military equipment. The exclusive economic zone shall not extend beyond 200 nautical miles from the baseline from which the breadth of territorial sea is measured. So these are the three statements asked in the UPSC Civil Services. Now I am giving you 30 seconds and you can answer the question. Okay, let's check the statements. First one is correct. We have seen the territorial sea or territorial region is starting from the baseline, coastline, till 12 nautical miles. So this is correct. Rest of the statements are to make you waste the time, right? Anyway, you can understand it. You have to read it and understand it, then only you have to answer, right? So first statement is correct. Second one, ships of all states, yes, whether coastal or non-coastal, there is no discrimination between the landlocked and the coastal states. Anyone can pass innocent passage just to trade and all, right, from the territorial water. So this is also correct. And then exclusive economic zone shall not extend beyond, yes, up to, they are saying beyond, up to 200 nautical miles, it is exclusive economic zone only. So all the statements are correct. So answer is D, right? So this is how the questions are made. If you just by heart the things, you won't understand. You have to find the logic. Okay, so innocent passage means they are just passing through some ocean water for their own purpose. There is no harm. They will take permission, they will pass through it, right? So they have the right. Nobody can deny. So all the statements are correct. 3 is D. Next, in the context of modern scientific research, this is also asked in UPSC 2015. Okay. In the context of modern scientific research, consider the following statements about ice cube, a particle detector located in the South Pole, that is Antarctic Ocean. It is the world's largest neutrino detector encompassing cubic kilometer of ice, right? So this is the first statement. It is powerful telescope to search for dark matter. Dark matter is nothing but the neutrino and all. So it is, they have given as dark matter, nothing but neutrino. That is not identified matter. It is buried deep in the ice. So the observatory or the detector was buried deep inside the sea. So what is this answer for this? These are civil services standard questions. First one, yes, for 1 cubic kilometer of ice, the neutrino detector was established. It is a powerful telescope to detect neutrinos or dark matter, both are same. It is buried deep in the ice. Yes, it was buried deep in the ice. Okay, so all the statements again are correct. So I can see that most of you are not answering these questions. So these are standard. We have discussed this exhaustively. This also we have discussed. You need to apply the knowledge. You need to apply to eliminate the statements and answer it, right? So this is the question. Last question for today. The dwarf cow breed Tenmala Kullan belongs to which of the following states, union territories? Tamil Nadu, Lakshadweep, Kerala and Karnataka. Right, the dwarf cow breed Tenmal Kullan belongs to which? You may confuse this. Lakshadweep, no, we did not. Karnataka, no. So the name Tenmala Kullan belongs to which? So two options we have eliminated and we have seen it is Kerala, right? So these are the today's practice questions, right? So I hope you have enjoyed the session. We have a very good factual data, analysis data. So try to revise the things, the sessions, you won't be able to remember it for longer. So understand them, try to revise. We have attached the PDF also. Make a short notes if possible, right? So it will really help you for exams. So you can see all the exams, current affairs plays a very important role, right? So that's from my side for today. And thanks for supporting us. Have a great evening. Thank you.